Hello, and thank you for tuning in. I have been invited by the Cleveland Metropolitan Bar Association to speak with you briefly about financial literacy. My name is Traci Tschmotzer, and I'm a financial advisor with Vantage Financial Group here in Cleveland. My practice focuses on helping clients define and then pursue their financial goals, particularly in the areas of wealth accumulation and retirement income planning. I joined Vantage Financial Group and Cetera Advisor Networks in 2019 after spending over 20 years at a large regional bank broker-dealer. I'm a Cleveland native and reside in Avon. I enjoy spending time with my family, especially my 6 and 10-year-old children, traveling and reading a good book when time allows. We are here today to talk about financial literacy. Why is financial literacy important? Financial literacy is the first step towards financial freedom. Today's workshop will help you understand your money and use it to get more out of life, including those big goals like living debt-free, owning a home, helping your children through college, or retiring early. Financial literacy is the first step in building strong money habits and avoiding lifelong financial struggles. You'll earn, spend, and save money in a way that's more meaningful to you. Your specific financial goals will vary based on what you value and where you are in your life. Some common goals include having cash on hand for emergencies, protection for your family in case of disaster, purchasing a home, saving for college for your children or grandchildren, planning a comfortable retirement, or saving for a vacation home or wedding. Because these goals change throughout your life, it's important to reevaluate these goals regularly to make sure you are on track. Think about your situation. Do you have any of the goals on this slide? Do you know how to make more of your goals a reality? That's what we'll be discussing today, how to turn your financial goals into a financial reality. Now, just being here today, you're taking an important step towards your financial freedom. Why? Because most people and families don't intentionally sit down and prepare for short-term and long-term financial goals. According to a 2018 report from the Federal Reserve, 4 in 10 adults, if faced with an unexpected expense of $400, would either not be able to cover it or would cover it by selling something or borrowing money. Over 1/5 of adults are not able to pay all of their current month's bills in full. Less than 2/5 of non-retired adults think that their retirement savings are on track, or 1/4 have no retirement savings or pension whatsoever. Other studies show that 1 in 5 adults with life insurance say they do not have enough, and nearly 5 of those over the age of 55 have not yet created a will. So by planning now, you have a jump start on achieving your financial goals. At Vantage, we believe that there are 3 building blocks for financial freedom: cash savings, asset accumulation, and wealth transfer. We'll talk about 3 of these today, not just to help you become more financially literate, but also to help you find the intrinsic motivation to help make this part of your life seriously so you can get on track to meet your goals and live the life you want. The first is cash savings. This is the money to be used for emergencies, for immediate and short-term needs. Savings is the foundation upon which you should build your financial plan, strong and dependable like the foundation of a house. Now, everyone has different circumstances, but I think we can all conclude having savings will help us meet our financial goals. Generally speaking, having more in savings is the first step to greater financial freedom. This chart shows the personal savings rate in the United States over the past 20 years. As you can see, in 2018, the average rate was 8.8% of income in savings. So how can you increase your savings or start saving? Sitting down to write a budget is one of the first and most important steps, but it can be a little painful to do the first time. You have a budget sheet handout attached. A useful exercise you should explore is sitting down with a blank budget sheet and writing in your after-tax income and what you think you spend on each category in a month's time. This exercise forces you to take educated guesses about what you spend each month and what you allocate to savings or other investments. Then, after a couple months or more, you could go back and critically look over all of your receipts and online accounts and write on another budget sheet what you actually spent on each category. We found that this exercise is enlightening for people, and they're usually surprised by the results. It's not uncommon for people to have guessed that they spend more than they actually have in some areas and less than they actually have in other areas. Of course, some months you end up having greater expenses or less than average. So that's why it's a good idea to try this exercise over at least 2 months so you can get a better picture of what you actually spend. After you complete this exercise, you'll probably see that there are areas where you can cut back without sacrificing much in terms of your lifestyle. Maybe you find, as many people do, that you're surprised at how much you spend eating outside of the home and commit to packing more lunches or cooking a few more dinners at home. Others might see that they're spending more than they would like on gasoline or car repairs, so they commit to carpooling a couple times a week or buying a more efficient car the next time they're in the market. These are just two examples of what you might find, and the only way to reach your unique findings is to go through the exercise. I know that this may not sound like fun, guessing and actually tracking your spending and savings, but this is probably the most important exercise you can do to help yourself clearly see where you are and how you can modify your behaviors to get yourself on track to reach your goals. Again, this exercise might not be fun, but then again, neither is being unable to live the lifestyle you want in retirement or failing to reach your other financial goals. One factor to consider in your budget is debt. Most people are conditioned to avoid debt at all costs and get out of debt as soon as possible. While that may work for some, what happens when focusing all your resources on debt forces you to ignore any potential savings? What happens when an unexpected expense comes up? You'll have to stack it right on top of your existing debt since you have no savings to fall back on. With that in mind, most financial professionals will tell you the answer to the debt reduction versus investing dilemma comes down to this. If you have the potential to earn a higher after-tax return on your investments than the after-tax interest rate cost on your debt, you should consider investing. If not, you should pay off your balance. Once you have your budget in place and know how much you have to save, it's time to consider risk. Risk management is a crucial part of a sound financial strategy. We obviously cannot avoid all risk, but we can take the measures to manage it. There are many risks that come up that will affect your financial situation. One risk that investors need to plan for is market risk. You can manage this by making sure you have proper asset allocation and regularly making sure you are diversified, rebalancing, and having an emergency fund to ensure you're not taking on too much risk. Another risk we face day in and day out is inflation. If you're not continually outpacing inflation, you're moving backwards. This chart shows the average cost of a movie ticket from the year 2000 to 2018. In just 18 years, it nearly doubles. This could be the case for many items we buy, and I'm sure each of you has some examples of your own. And of course, there's the risk of losing your income. While we certainly hope it doesn't happen, we all know families who've had a major loss of income due to job loss, disability, or death. During these emotionally tough times, the last thing you want to be worried about is income loss. You manage risk by planning ahead. Budgeting and saving ensures you have proper asset allocation, you're diversified, rebalanced, and have an emergency fund to ensure you're not taking on too much risk. When it comes to cash savings, the best time to start is 10 years ago. The second best time to start is now. Why? Life insurance is one example of a low-risk savings plan. This chart shows the cost of a $500,000 face amount, 30-year level term life insurance policy with a standard rating based on health. As you can see, there is a large difference in cost for a 30-year-old male who will pay a total of $22,167 versus a 40-year-old male who will pay $34,410. That's a difference of about $12,000 over the life of the policy. And that is assuming your health is the same at age 40 as it was at age 30. Do you think you're as healthy today as you were 10 years ago? Right. Let's look at another chart that shows why it's important not to wait. The dark lines in this graph show the cost difference for a 30-year-old male versus a 40-year-old male based on a $500,000 face amount 30-year term life insurance policy with a standard health rating. But let's consider your health at age 30. What if you are in excellent health and therefore may qualify a preferred health rating at the same $500,000 face amount 30-year term life insurance policy? You can see now that your total cost would be $13,602 instead of the standard health rating of $22,167. That's over $8,000 less. Now let's factor in the cost of waiting until the age of 40 and your health deteriorating. If you qualified for a preferred policy at age 30 and then waited 10 years and your health only changed to standard, it would be a difference of over $20,000. So now we can see the value of time when it comes to saving. When it comes to using life insurance as a vehicle for savings, another important question we hear all the time is, what type of insurance should I purchase? There is no one right or wrong policy for anyone. The answer depends on a number of different factors, including health, age, insurance needs, and purpose. There are two types of insurance, term life and whole life, which is also known as cash value insurance. Term insurance is generally less expensive. This is because term insurance is just coverage. You don't build cash value, and it is generally for a term period, unlike whole life, which, like its name, is for your whole life. As you can see, there are a lot of moving parts when it comes to budgeting and building cash savings. If there's one thing I want you to remember about cash savings, it's the value of time. So the best thing you can do is start right now. Moving on, the next building block is accumulation. Establishing a strategy to set aside money on a regular basis in order to accumulate and build wealth. This is for money for goals that occur before retirement, such as starting a business, helping children with education, and buying a new home. Retirement savings is where we spend most of our time with our clients, as more and more companies are reducing pensions and retirement benefits to their employees. There are three things to consider when saving for retirement: time, money, and rate of return. We'll start with time. I'm sure you agree that time is something you can never have enough of, nor can get back once it's gone. It is never too late or too early to start saving. Next is money. With this, we are going to look at two different factors: past dollars, or what you have accumulated so far, and future dollars, what you plan to save and you need to get or stay on the path to the retirement you want. We want to keep these investments in places that encourage long-term growth as well as stability. Lastly, we must be aware of the rates of return. Although out of our control, we will take advantage of diversification strategies that are designed to help mitigate the ups and downs of the market so you can stay with your strategy for the long term. Eventually, we enter what is referred to as the distribution phase or the payout phase, which is a technical way to say retirement. In retirement, you want to be able to write your own paychecks and live comfortably. Planning ahead now means that the assets you have accumulated up to this point remain allocated properly, always taking into account your tolerance for risk. Everyone starts saving for retirement differently. Many people start their investments with what might be considered a large amount of money. Others, perhaps those beginning with their working careers or those who are not good savers, might not have as much to invest and therefore start with smaller amounts. As you can see from this hypothetical chart, if an individual began investing with $100 a month and did it for 15 years at a hypothetical return of 8%, they would have accumulated $33,978. However, if they save for a longer period of time, say 30 years, that same $100 per month would have grown to over $140,000. This chart also illustrates the potential growth of investing more money per month over similar periods of time. We should remind you here that this is an example. It's hypothetical and does not represent an investment in any particular fund or the performance of any fund. The average annual return it assumes of 8% with no fluctuation in principal is here for illustration purposes only. The actual performance of most investments will fluctuate and no particular return is ever guaranteed. Any type of periodic investment program should be monitored regularly. This chart shows the importance of time when it comes to saving money. For example, let's say you need $100,000 18 years from now. If you have the entire 18 years to accumulate, you can see you would only need to set aside $206 per month or a lump sum of $25,025. But if you wait just 3 years, you can see that amount needed to attain the goal increases to $284 per month or a lump sum of over $31,000. As time passes, you can see that the amount of money needed either on a monthly basis or a lump sum can become unattainable. In general, the younger you are, the more risk you should be willing to take in order to achieve your financial goals. The investment mix that is appropriate for you depends on your age, goals, investment time horizon, and attitude about risk. Now, you've probably heard about different types of investment accounts. You may or may not know that some types of accounts are taxable, which means they are funded with after-tax contributions and tax-free withdrawals. Other accounts may result in a tax deduction when you contribute, and then the withdrawals are taxable. The benefit of different types of retirement accounts is that they will generate different types of income in retirement. When you retire, you will still need income. The difference is that you will not have an employer sending you a paycheck. You'll be responsible for your own income. Retirement income generally consists of a mix of Social Security, pensions, retirement accounts such as 401ks from your employer, and other savings such as IRAs, annuities, and mutual funds. Pensions and Social Security may make up a large portion of your retirement income, so it is vital that you understand the different beneficiary options, the impact of claiming early or late, and how to coordinate benefits with your spouse if you are married. Retirees face many of the same risks as other investors, including market risk, interest rate risk, health, and longevity. The key for retirees is to take the right amount of money from the right accounts with the right risks. Retirees need a mix of short-term investments, which are focused on safety and liquidity, and long-term investments, which are more growth-oriented. A detailed portfolio will include income objectives, sources of the money, age at retirement, and the money needed initially. Social Security is and will continue to be a large source of income for most retirees. For most of us, our full retirement age is between 65 and 67. There is also the option to start withdrawing early or to delay drawing Social Security. This chart shows the impact of retiring early, at full retirement age, and late. So what have we learned about accumulation? Namely, it's important to start. Accumulating assets is much easier when you are combining all three factors of time, money, and rate of return. And once you've accumulated wealth, it is time to move on to the last phase of financial freedom, wealth transfer. Even if you don't think you have enough assets to constitute wealth, you've worked hard and you deserve to know that your assets go to the places and people you want to receive them, and in the most efficient way possible. There are three key tools for making this happen. The first one is a will. Everyone should have a will, which simply dictates where or to whom your assets will be transferred. The second is a power of attorney. In the event you are unable to make important financial decisions, a power of attorney will authorize someone else, someone of your choosing, to make those decisions for you. And the third is a healthcare proxy. This will declare your medical wishes should you ever become incapacitated and need someone else to handle your health care. Now, I have to make it clear that I'm not an attorney and cannot put these into effect for you or give you legal or tax advice. I can recommend a few attorneys for you if you would like and make recommendations that you can then confirm with your attorney or accountant. Today we've covered the basics of financial literacy, including the importance of cash savings, asset accumulation, and wealth transfer. We all have different priorities of which piece of the financial picture to work on at certain times during our lives. Drawing up a budget can help you determine how you do spend your money and compare it to how you want to spend your money. Then you can thoroughly review your portfolio and determine the best starting point relative to your goals and time horizon. So what happens next? If you'd like to talk more in depth about your financial strategy, please contact me. My information is on the slide, and I'll be more than happy to answer questions and set appointments. Thank you for taking the time to listen and learn a bit about financial literacy.